Welcome to Psych Ups with Brian. Yes, and today we're talking about being happy at work. It's actually National Fun at Work Day today. So we want to feel happy at our work. We want to feel fulfilled at our work. And so there's five tips to feeling fulfilled at your work, to having a happy a happy work life, and having fun at work. So today is National Fun at Work Day. So let's boil it down to these five things to make sure you're having fun at work and being fulfilled at your work. Okay, number one, you got to have a positive mental attitude about your work. You got to feel like you're doing good. You got to feel like you have a sense of purpose. And that's an important thing. I mean, if you're doing some job that you feel like maybe isn't helping anybody, maybe is even maybe not helping, maybe doing harm to people, and there's jobs like that, you might actually feel like, I don't have a good sense of purpose. Hopefully you have a sense of purpose about your work, that you're helping other people, that you're providing. I mean, at the baseline, you're providing money and, a lifestyle to your family. Okay. So, I mean, that's at the very, very bottom line, you work to get money. So bottom line, you have a sense of purpose of, I need to feed my family. Okay, so that's your number one sense of purpose. But beyond that, we'd like to feel like we're contributing to society, that we're providing value for our fellow human beings, and that you have a sense of purpose at your work. So a positive mental attitude about that, plus habitually pleasant thoughts. Write that down. That's a really key thing. Do you have habitually pleasant thoughts? I mean, when you're walking around, what's your habitual thinking? What's your habit? What's your habit of thinking? Are you generally in a positive mood? Are you generally, thinking positively, or are you kind of, critical and always kind of? Now, here's a little spin. I am a fixer. My dad was a fixer. He was an engineer. Both my brothers were engineers. My sister was an engineer. My other sister's a chiropractor. Really, like a fix it mentality. Like, okay, what's wrong? Let's fix it. And so sometimes you can get into a certain mindset where you're very critical. You're looking at the world as what needs fixing all the time. And so you're constantly looking for problems and evaluating problems and focused on negative stuff. So sometimes you can get caught in that. So generally pleasant thoughts, habitually pleasant thoughts is very important. You need a cheerful outlook. Let me put it that way. And that's going to be helped by having a positive demeanor. So your demeanor is your overall appearance, your facial expressions, your tone of voice, the way you move, that's your demeanor. So having a cheerful demeanor at work really helps. So definitely focus on having a cheerful demeanor all the time. I mean, that will really help you have habitually pleasant thoughts. When you have a smile on your face, what kind of thoughts are going through your mind? You can't think negatively. It's actually physically impossible to have a sincere smile on your face, hold that smile, and then start thinking of all this negative stuff. It doesn't work. Somehow there's a disconnect and it doesn't compute. Okay, so positive mental attitude is number one. Number two is a good match. Is your work a good match for you? And this is important. This is kind of another baseline thing. Are you in the right spot? So there's 6 things I kind of look at for this. And I'm going to go fast, but the 6 things I look at to see if this opportunity is a good match for you. Does it bring out your best traits? Okay, your traits. Number 2 is education. Does it match more or less what you've been trained to do? Okay, number 3, your skill sets. What are your natural skill sets, or what skill sets have you developed? I mean, maybe you've got a skill set that you are just brilliant at programming AI or something. And so if you got a skill set like that, and that you can make, $500 an hour doing it, obviously that's a great skill set. And that's going to be a really good match if you find the right job. So, experience, that's the next thing. Remember, there's 6 things. 4 is experience. Does your experience match up with, whatever you're doing, your work? Social setting. Do you like the social setting of your work? Now, that's a very unique thing, because a lot of people are working more remotely now, where there's not much of a social setting. They're just kind of by themselves at home. And so that may not be the ideal social setting. Maybe you would rather have a job where you actually go in and you're around people, even if it's just 2 days a week or something like that. So think about that. Does your job match you in terms of the social setting of your job? If it's remote, obviously, and you love to be around people, maybe you want to actually look for a different opportunity where you're around people more. And then lastly, sense of purpose. So is it a good match with your sense of purpose? And that's obviously part of number one too, having a sense of purpose in your work. Okay, number three, professional approach. Okay, that's comes down to your task efficiency plus good work habits plus smart time management. Okay, so this is just do you have a professional approach to this job that to your work that makes it a good match for you? And sometimes there's some work that you get into and you're not efficient at the tasks. You need to have some kind of task efficiency. There's certain tasks for every job. Are you good at the tasks? Like if you're a salesperson, are you good at calling a lot of people in one day? You're supposed to talk to 20 people a day. Are you talking to 8 people a day? So you're not really good at the task efficiency part of the work. So that's important. Plus good work habits. Good work habits is just, coming in and not talking to everybody. If you work at a location, and not hanging out at the water cooler for 45 minutes and, just good work habits. Now that comes down to smart time management, a lot of that as well. So smart time management is also a component. So what is your professional approach? It's task efficiency plus good work habits plus smart time management. So whatever you're approaching, whether it's real estate investing or whatever, I want you to think about bringing that professional approach to it. There's 2 more. There's number 4 is coworkers and authorities. So how are your relationships with your coworkers and authorities at this work? Again, if you're starting your own company as a real estate investor, you might think, well, I don't have coworkers and authorities, but you do. You're working with other people. You're working with some realtors. You're working with bird dogs. You're working with contractors to do your repairs. You're working with a lot of people. Okay, so how well do you work with your coworkers? The cool thing with the real estate investing is you kind of get to pick your coworkers. You get to pick your contracting team. Now, it doesn't always go good. Sometimes you pick somebody and they don't turn out to be what they represented, and so you have to kind of work to get that coworker situation correct. But again, coworkers and authorities. Now there's authorities too, like your boss. Do you get along good? If you have a good job, like my daughter's a nurse, right? She loves her boss. She loves her manager. They have a really cool floor. She loves her job, but she's going to leave because she wants to be a nurse anesthetist. But coworkers and authorities, that's a great match for her. So how about yours? Do you have good relationships and a good match with your coworkers and your boss and management and authorities? And then lastly, number 5 is your customer interactions. Some jobs do not have customer interactions. If you thrive on customer interactions, if you enjoy working with customers, then you probably want to have opportunity, a job where you get to interact with customers a lot. If you really don't like talking to customers, then your customer interaction would be, hey, I don't really want much of it or any of it. So customer interaction is it courteous plus enjoyable plus successful? So look at the customer if you have regular customer interactions in your work, as we do in real estate investing, do they tend to be those 3 things? Courteous. I mean, you get along with people, they like you, you like them. It's a pleasant conversation and pleasant interaction. Number 2, enjoyable. Do you like the customers, or is it a fight? Now, I used to run a mortgage office where I had to deal with a bunch of collectors because they would send me the business, they would send me the referrals, and then I'd be working on their referrals and they'd be hounding me towards the end of the month. Am I going to get my check? Am I going to get my check? It was so stressful. So those were actually my customers were not only the people I was doing loans for, but the people who were sending me the leads, my collectors. And boy, that was a hard group to work with. So in terms of customer interaction, wow, that was one of the hardest. And being a collector, I mean, if you're a collector, that's some pretty tough customer interaction. Now, some of you may like that kind of customer interaction. You may enjoy that. So that might be suited to you. But most of us want, again, courteous, enjoyable, and successful. We want to have positive customer interactions where we help people, meaning successful. Okay, so that's a lot to digest here on Fun at Work, National Fun at Work Day. But I want you to be happy in your work. And some of it is it a good match? So let's look and see if it's a good match. And if it isn't a good match, maybe we should consider making a change. Or a lot of times you can adjust your current work to make it a better match. And so look at these 5 things. Think about any adjustments you can make to make it a better match. If you work remotely and you like being around people a little bit more, figure out if you can go into the office for 2 days a week and be around people more. Think of those adjustments you can make. So again, lastly, I know this was a lot to digest, but the 5 ways to be fulfilled at your work are: number 1, have a positive mental attitude, which is a sense of purpose and habitually pleasant thoughts. Number 2, is it a good match? That's the 6 areas of traits, education, skills, experience, social setting, and sense of purpose. Number 3 is professional approach. Do you have a professional approach to your work? That's going to make you feel fulfilled at your work. Do you have good task efficiency, good work habits, and smart time management with your work? Number 4, coworkers and authorities. So, are you fulfilled at work because you have good relationships? Do you feel like a team member? And do you feel respected? And do you have a sense of belonging? Those are the 3 things I'm looking for there. In terms of the social setting of your work, do you feel like I'm a team member? I'm contributing to a team. And are you getting respected? In some jobs, you don't feel like you're getting respected. And lastly, do you have a sense of belonging? Like, hey, I belong here. I like being here. And then lastly, number 5, that customer interaction. Is it courteous, enjoyable, and successful? So again, a lot to digest today, but start thinking about how you can make adjustments at your work to make it match you better, to be more fulfilled at your work, and think about how your real estate investing matches you and how you can be really fulfilled at that as well. Hey, Isabel, haven't seen you for a little bit. Great to see you. Happy Friday. I know this was a lot. I choose to have a great attitude about my job and look forward to becoming job optional. Yes, and guys, how long would it take you if you have 20 rentals? And this is kind of my goal for everybody, is 20 rentals. Just write that down somewhere and start getting that stuck in your mind. 20 rentals, 20 rentals, 20 rentals. Because if you get 20 rentals, how much do I want you to average per property per month? $500. So if you're averaging $500 per property per month and you get to 20 rentals, you're going to be at 10 grand a month income. That's over 6 figures. That's 120 grand a year. I think most of us can live fairly comfortably on that. In addition to maybe our Social Security or whatever else we're getting, or pension or anything else. So let's focus on that. I mean, that's the answer to your financial freedom puzzle, is 20 rentals. I mean, and that's what I tell everybody, because that's passive income, especially when you're selling them on lease purchase. And, you're collecting big option deposits and you don't have to do any of the repairs. So again, that's my goal for everybody. Get 20 rentals and make that your work and enjoy your work. And then you are job optional because you got 10 grand coming in. My job helps to fund my business as it gets going. Also, it is very hard to be sad all day and positively be positive after work when building my business. Awesome thoughts. I always love, Tony always has incredible contributions. He's a thinker brain. Good morning, Charles. Happy Friday to you. Doris, great to see you. Doris, when you chime in, when you're coming in on YouTube and that, I don't comment back. So if you're on Facebook, I will comment on your comments. Charles, work hard on your job. You will make a living. Work hard on yourself. You will make a fortune. Hey, that's a good one. There's a lot of good quotes out there. I use a lot of quotes in the Psych Ups, guys, that's coming. Good morning, Brian. WL, great to see you, buddy. Isabel, love the job optional phrase. Yes, let's get job optional. Okay. 100 rentals. All right. Well, Charles, you're thinking big. Awesome. 100 rentals. Can you imagine the legacy that you would leave your kids and your heirs if you had 100 rentals? Even just 20 rentals. Even just, guys, let's face it, if you have 10 rentals, your life's going to be way, way, way better if you bought them intelligently. And again, sometimes, you work hard to get to save up down payments, and then you can use regular financing, and I can help you with that. You can get rental loans, but you got to come up with 20% down. Sometimes people do flips just to get the down payment so they can buy more rentals. But remember, we like to do the seller financing and approach people who owe close to what the house is worth and say, will you sell us the house for what you owe on it? And will you take monthly payments? And if they say yes and yes, we just got a nothing down deal. And so you can accumulate those very quickly because you don't have to save up a bunch of down payments. So that's what I like about doing the seller financing. Eugene Poncelet. I love that name. What a great name. Thank you, Brian, for inspiring all of us. Thank you, Eugene. Generational wealth. Yes, guys, when you pass down, that's how most wealth is passed amongst generations in America right now. Mom and dad buy a house and then, pay it off over time, and then the kids inherit the house. So why not have your kids inherit 5 or 10 or 20 houses? That would be awesome. Okay. And they get a one-time step up in basis. So basically they inherit all your properties tax-free. So this is going to be amazing. All right, guys. So that was really a good session today. Very exciting. Give me a couple thumbs up and love and all that stuff. I forget to talk about that. I'm just focused on getting you guys some great information and great things to focus on, to be positive and excited and forward thinking and focus on your goals. All right. So what's our affirmation for today? I love my work. I love my work. Let's say that 3 times on 3. Ready? I love affirmations too. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love my work. I love my work. I love my work. Yes. And so you love your work, or you adjust your work to make it more lovable. Okay. You can't love every part of your work, and you're never going to love every part of every job. But if overall you got that sense of fulfillment, and you think about those 5 things we went through today, and you align those as well as you can to what you're doing, that will really help you be more mentally well, mental wellness and peak performance. That's what we're going for. Everybody's going for mental wellness and peak performance. That's our 2 goals in 2025, mental wellness and peak performance. All right, guys. So awesome spending this time with you. So great to see everybody. Great to see it all. Have a great weekend, as Charles encourages us all. And Caleb, yay, Caleb showed up and gave us a nice thumbs up. How awesome. Okay, on fire. All right, so guys, I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Until I see you then, keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and taking action.